Hey, HTDA, and this is a review of Modulus, a new factory game that just came out today as this goes live. Now, I've been lucky enough to get a review key and play it ahead of time, so here's what I think. Let me save you some time with the short version. If you've played games like Shapes, this will feel very familiar, but Modulus adds in enough new twists to keep things interesting. It's great for the casual factory builders, but also for players who really enjoy making clean, optimized setups. And honestly, it has some of the best building controls I've ever seen in a factory game. I love it. Now, for those of you that want a little bit more detail, in Modulus you produce blocks made of 64 voxels. You can break these down and reassemble them into new items, which you'll then use in increasingly complex forms to construct buildings. Now, those buildings produce things like robots and science, which you then deliver to central hubs to gain experience. You then use this experience to unlock new areas and science to unlock upgrades and buildings. Now, those in turn let you expand your factory and scale up your production. The technology tree is pretty substantial and you'll easily get a few dozen hours out of this game, more if you go for all the optional objectives. Performance wise, the game also holds up pretty well. Even later on, I didn't really run into any major issues. So far, nothing groundbreaking, but where this game really shines is the UI and the controls. I really hope other factory game developers are paying attention because building in this game is just incredibly fun. Resources are infinite, so you're free to build whatever you want without worrying about running out. But more importantly, moving buildings, copying setups, and even mirroring entire sections is quick and effortless. If you like clean, symmetrical factories, this is a huge plus for a game like this. Combine that with solid hotkeys, building and tweaking your factory just feels so smooth. And honestly, that is what hooked me the most. Add some nice soothing background music, and it's very easy to lose just a few hours tinkering around with your setup. I might have spent the entire evening before I recorded this just, designing and optimizing my factory just because of that. Basically, the game really focuses on the fun part of factory building, the designing and optimizing part, while cutting down on the grind. Because, let's be honest, there's only so many machines you can place down before it starts feeling repetitive. Another big plus for this game is how clearly it communicates the production ratios. There's no guesswork or complicated math, you always know exactly what your setup is doing. And for those of you that are more visually inclined, there is a great efficiency overview that instantly shows you how your factory is performing. Now, if all of that sounds a little bit too easy, keep in mind that your factory is going to be built on islands and there's obstacles on those islands. So you can't just copy and paste the entire design that you've made everywhere and just rinse and repeat. You'll need to think about how to get your resources to where they need to go efficiently, because there is also a cap on how many connections you can have between islands and as well on the amount of flying machines you can have to gather things from A to B. On top of the main progression, there are optional challenges where you create new shapes as well. These reward you with extra science and experience and some decorative buildings if you unlock sets of them. They're a nice side activity, especially when you're waiting on your other production lines to come in. So, what about the downsides of this game? Now, the biggest one I think is that the game is fairly easy. Production chains are mostly straightforward and even inefficient setups will still work. If you are looking for a hardcore optimization challenge that makes you whip out your spreadsheets, this isn't it. It might feel a little bit too relaxed for you. In fact, you could probably brute force the progress by just letting it run for a long while. There's also a few minor issues. I ran into some small visual bugs when using blueprints, nothing game breaking or anything like that, but worth mentioning still. And fairly early on, you unlock these huge monuments that require a ton of resources, but the game doesn't really explain what they do. And since they don't actually have an immediate function, it would have been nice to know that before I spent a couple of hours building them. But then again, you can just keep them intact, set them aside, and use them on later. But aside from that, there's very little to complain about. Modulus knows exactly what it wants to be and it executes on that vision, I think, really well. It doesn't really have the scale or complexity of some of the bigger factory games, but what it offers instead is a super polished, low stress building experience that's just fun to play. So yeah, if you're looking for a relaxed factory builder that still scratches that optimization part of your brain without overwhelming you, then I can definitely recommend Modulus. As always, don't forget to like the video if you found this helpful, let me know in the comments what you think, and subscribe for more content like this. And as always, if you're still here, you are awesome, and I do hope to catch you in the next one.